Hello, Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising, and welcome to May. We start the month off with all planets direct, other than Pluto and Aquarius, which will go retrograde on May 5th, but is here to stay as it will not go back into Capricorn in our lifetimes. And you may be breathing a sigh of relief because Pluto had been sitting on a very important angle that was in your 7th house for a very long time. And now we'll be moving into a house where actually it's a little bit more comfortable. The 8th house is the house that Pluto naturally rules. We also have Mercury out of shadow and Venus out of shadow by May 26 in Aries, right when Saturn also moves in Aries, along with a newly entered Neptune in Aries as well. Neptune will remain there for 14 years, and then Saturn will move in from May 26 until April 13th, 2028. However, the next few weeks or so will just show Saturn dipping his toe into this new house and energy before going retrograde on July 14th this summer to finish up some kind of remaining business and story, some type of learning in your Pisces. Let me check. Your Pisces 9th house before coming back into your sign, before going back into the sign of Aries on November 28th, 2025, again to stay until April 2028, so roughly around 3 years. Don't worry about the dates that I mentioned. I will write them down for you in the description box down below, which will be nice. You can add them to your calendar or circle the dates or what have you. Saturn naturally rules your 7th house of partnership and business and love, and as well as it is the ancient ruler of your 8th house of death, rebirth, shared resources, and transformation as Aquarius is ancient ruler. And with the ruler of the 7th and the 8th going into the 10th of career. Oh, hang on. Okay, sorry, Cancer. I thought I had written your whole horoscope with my houses mixed up, but I did not. Okay, so Saturn will finish up some remaining business in your Pisces 9th house before coming back into your 10th Aries house on November 28th, 2025. Again, to stay until April 2028. Okay, so I just wanted to backtrack there for a second to make sure I had that correct. Okay, so since Saturn naturally rules your 7th house of partnership and business and love and the 8th of death, rebirth, shared resources, and transformation, the ruler of the 7th and 8th going into the 10th of career and public visibility, you could be changing the work that you do in the world and making changes that have been long overdue. Saturn is actually really happy in the 10th house of career as Saturn is naturally exalted here. Since this planet rules your 7th partnership house, it could look like you and a serious partner could be starting a business that will require some kind of sacrifice and hard work. That sacrifice could be, less time spent on the home front or long hours away from family because you have Saturn in the 10th looking over at your 4th house of home and family. Maybe alternatively, this is happening for your partner and not you directly, and they won't be as available on the home front due to some big career change that they may be making. And it would be big with Pluto in the 8th house of shared resources, where we gain from our partner. But this would be on a positive note, like they get a chance to go overseas for a contract. And although there will be distance and isolation, the reward here can be a significant increase in your shared resources that can maybe free you up for you to do what you want in the world. The good part is that there is a flow of support to these changes, that if it's you making the changes, you're making, or even a partner, because you have Pluto in the 8th Aquarius house and Uranus moving into your 12th Gemini house, flowing in a sextile to Saturn and Neptune in the 10th. This could even be a home office. So even though you may be at home, you may be spending long hours in isolation, working on a dream project that will benefit your loved ones once it's finished, likely providing you or gifting you a new career that you initiated, since Saturn in the 10th is the one to take charge and make the desired changes. It could be, for example, you're working on a book idea or a novel and will get the support via a partner in the resources that you share, so that way you can make a home office or take a sabbatical from work so that you can accomplish this dream of writing said book. If it's not a partner, maybe you're taking out a loan to do the same thing that I just mentioned. The 12th house where Uranus is moving into is a creative house, but also a spiritual one. Maybe you are starting a creative, spiritual business, and the resources in the form of a loan or investment can come through to support this change that you're making and how you're viewed in the world pertaining to career or public recognition. Because how we're viewed publicly or our outer persona is shown by the 10th house, so whatever sign that is. And for you, that's Aries. So Uranus and Gemini could be, friends from childhood that could be of help to you, maybe in recommending a new job or even starting an internet-based business with a small group of people is another example. I definitely see a focus on making money over the next year with Jupiter moving into your sign, exalted, by June 9th of this year, since Jupiter also rules your 6th work house of Sagittarius. And Jupiter also rules your 9th house of spirituality, luck, travel, law, legal settlements, higher education. So you could be traveling for work and can encounter someone over the next year who can help you change what you do for a living in a lucky way. Maybe someone you come in contact with can connect you with, let's say a publisher on a book proposal or an agent. And that's where, the luck can come in. The 9th house rules publishing and broadcasting, and you'll be working on maybe the editing and marketing process, for example, over the next couple of years to produce something of lasting value with Saturn in the mix in the 10th. The beautiful thing about Saturn is that when we do the work that he requires of us with consistency and effort, there is always a solid, tangible, lasting gift at the end, as Saturn represents longevity and rewards for anything that you build. And it definitely looks like you are focused on building something new, which hands you the reins to have sovereignty over your own life, like starting a business, teaching, writing a book, continuing your education to improve the work you do in the world, or so that you can seek out a promotion that can improve your life overall. So maybe you're skill building or going back to school in order to change your careers. You can also have some kind of spiritual awakening as you have Uranus entering your 12th house of past lives and spirituality, subconscious, compassion. Sorry, we have a major storm coming in. It's shaking my window. The 12th house rules isolation, foreign shores, addictions, debts, but also deep creativity and foreign money. If you had been isolated for a period of time, Uranus transiting here can give you sudden opportunities to travel to distant shores, and it could be travel that can be life-altering, like an opportunity comes up to travel with a sibling or friend or partner, and you encounter a different life philosophy or living or a new way to live or a religion, along these travels that changes the way that you do life in general. Like maybe you go to India and learn about Buddhism, for example, and Uranus can suddenly free you as well from like addictions or debts. Lastly, I think by the time Saturn is done transiting your 10th house, as initially it would be riding along with Neptune, also recently entered into your 10th, the work that you're doing will be vastly different from the work that you're doing right now. It can be something that really speaks to your soul, and in fact, I would think it has to be something that speaks to your soul and is more imaginative in nature, or where you will use empathy and healing or even creativity in the work that you do. Maybe developing like a non-for-profit for children in your local community. You will want to do something that speaks to your soul, something more authentic and rewarding that has deeper meaning and purpose over the course of this time that Neptune remains in this public house of legacy, name, and fame. But initially with Saturn here for the first 3 years, I think you'll be working on the structure and the building of it so that way you can enjoy the freedom that Neptune will give to kind of, expand out with this dream up here. Okay, Cancer, take care and we'll see you in June.